Oh,
Hey.
hey, so this is Jody. Hi, Jody.
Hello.
So Jody is Skyping with me from
Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm in Los Angeles. And Jody had contacted me about 5 weeks ago, about 5 weeks ago, roughly. And you had contacted me because you already knew you had Hashimoto's, right?
Right.
Okay. And why, or I guess, how was it that you contacted me compared to anyone else in the world?
Yeah, so I heard you on a podcast.
Okay.
And I can't even remember whose podcast it was. But I felt like I had gotten to a point with my doctor, my current doctor that I was with, where I was stretching him beyond his capacity. And I wasn't getting to the root like I wanted to. So intuitively, I just knew it was time to continue on.
Just make a change, yeah. Yeah. And I do want to note that you are not like my typical Hashimoto's patient. You are definitely advanced. You are very knowledgeable, more so than the average person, and you're a healer yourself as well.
Right.
So, I mean, I just want to make that, pretty clear to people that we're not dealing with a typical type of case here. But so you got to the point to where you just weren't making any more improvement and just needed to move on to do something else. And so what was it that you saw in what I did that you felt could benefit you?
Yeah, so it was your own personal story, first of all, and how adamant you were about not doing medication and going that route. And I'm just a firm believer that we can heal our bodies, and we do sometimes need supplementation and food, tweaks and things of that nature. But ultimately, we need to learn how to listen to ourselves.
Right.
And I felt like you were doing that with your wife and the story that you had there.
Okay. And so what types of symptoms were you getting that maybe you couldn't quite get under control with the other practitioners that you had brought to me?
Well, first of all, I mean, so it was a few months prior where I found out that I had Hashimoto. It seems as if I've had some symptoms maybe, since I was little. But they really manifested about a year ago when my dad passed away pretty suddenly of an autoimmune type disease. And so, after a death, we become more and more intuitive and more connected. And I got sick. So my daughter and my boyfriend and I, we all came down with something. They were we're not like medicine doctor people unless it's a dire need, and we felt it was a dire need. And they were actually diagnosed with pneumonia, put on an antibiotic, and I think I was put on an antibiotic too, but they really didn't know what was going on. It was like we were sick. Like Matt and I would go back to bed, and my daughter would go to school, but she was 7 years old, and they're more resilient than we are. But at that point, it was like this like flu-y feeling that wouldn't go away, and I was having heart palpitations, and I knew it wasn't grief because I've experienced grief before, and grief is like here in the chest, and it's not this overwhelming feeling, it's just a heavy feeling. And I was feeling this fog in my brain, like something was taking over my thought processing. I just did not feel. I felt like there was an invader taking over my body. And
Alien!
I wasn't in control. And when I asked my doctor, I told him that I feel like there's something taking over my body. This is not me. This is not my thought processing. I'm not a depressed kind of person. I'm not somebody that allows thoughts to take over. And they were like negative thoughts or thoughts that weren't leading me into more life. And so, I mean, that's the only way I can explain it. Most people just say like foggy brain.
Right.
And what does that mean? That means that you're not thinking like yourself. You're thinking like somebody else.
Right.
And so he tested me for like parasites and things, and he was like, no, it's not that. And he wasn't getting to the root. And I kind of had this inkling of Epstein Barr virus already within me. And so as I heard you speak, I just thought, okay, I'm not one to stay loyal to someone just because they have a name. Like, I'm loyal to myself first. So if I'm not getting those answers, and I'm an advocate first and foremost for people and for patients, based on my own personal stories that go beyond this conversation, but it was just time to go. It was time to seek other answers, and so that's what it was. It was the heart palpitations and the foggy brain mostly, and then some weird things that I'm just tired of having psoriasis or eczema in my ears that is unexplainable. My blood work was coming back that I was like having vitamin D of a 95-year-old, and it was just ridiculousness. So I mean, I'm a health advocate. I'm a wellness advocate. I'm a certified personal trainer. It's like health is my gig, and for me to have that kind of blood work come back was like, whoa,
right, unacceptable.
So if I look, like a healthy 44-year-old woman, and then there's all these people out there that do not look as vibrant and act as vibrant as I do, and yet this is the kind of reading that I'm getting. It was like, I got to dig deeper into this.
Right. Okay. So we talked and we did some testing, and we got started around the end of June. We actually got started. And so here we are now, roughly 6 weeks later, right? July, yeah, roughly 6 weeks later. And so how are we doing? Tell us how you're progressing along.
I'm doing great. I feel like that invader that I was feeling is going. So I feel like I don't know how else to explain it, but that it felt as if an invader was like a Martian was taking over my body. That kind of thing where it now just feels like it's not there anymore. So I'm still having some things going on, but I don't feel that. It's like a out of control feeling, like something, like I'm not the one in control. It's like whatever it is that's going on within there. So I feel like that's the virus itself.
Okay. And so you're feeling like the Epstein-Barr was a big part of what's going on with you, and that's slowly starting to get more under control now.
I do feel like that was a big part of it. It's such an interesting virus that we know little about. So I do feel like that's been a big part of it. There are still things that I'm wondering about, but I think that's the first thing, is to make sure that we don't have invaders that don't belong there.
Yeah.
Because then we can get to the proper healing of self.
Right.
Right. Then we can, when we're not fighting with something else, then we can get to the core.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one of the major triggers. So, I mean, we got a long way to go, no question about that. But just after 6 weeks of just protocols, if you were to put a percentage of improvement that you've experienced from then till now, what would you say?
82.
82?
82.
Wow. I mean, I'm shocked at that. Man, that's excellent. For 6 weeks of care, 82% improvement. That's awesome.
It is awesome. I mean, it's like I said, if I feel like I'm in control of what's going on within my body, then I feel like I've come a long way. It's like the race is even if we have a longer race to go, I feel like I can handle it.
Right.
I can manage it.
Right.
So, and I don't know where 82% comes up, but that's just what comes up.
That's what came to your head.
Um,
So that's what we're gonna take that. Great.
yeah, yeah.
Great. I'm gonna take that. So I'm excited about that because I feel like we got a lot more improvement to go.
Good.
So I'm very, very excited about that. I'm very excited for you. Congratulations. You sound like you're on the right track again.
All right, sounds good. I love to be on the right track.
Great job. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.